I've been doing this gig for a while now. I've amassed more blasters than one person should ever reasonably have. And every once in a while, I still come across a blaster that doesn't do half the things my other blasters do, but it just looks so darn cool, tickles me in all the right places, that I can't help but love it. Is it full auto, select fire, burst fire? Does it punch holes through drywall, shoot a massive rocket, you know, eject shells? No, it doesn't do any of that. But it looks freaking cool. So what am I even talking about? Well, this is the Zuru X-Shot Hawk Eye blaster. Not to be confused with Hawk Eye 007. In fact, this isn't even a new blaster. I mean, it is. This is a new shell mold for, you know, the current year, 2018. But this is not a new blaster. The Hawk Eye has been around for a little while now, and while the previous versions are pretty much the same thing, they don't look nearly as cool as this one. This thing, it's just so pretty. Seriously, like, I'm gonna have to say this right off the bat. I love the color scheme. I love the white with the very, very dark blue. And of course I like these clear blue accents. They're nice and bright and poppin'. And it even, like, the grip is really, really comfortable. I happen to like it a lot. It even does this crazy cool thing where it says it has recoil on the package, and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? And then when you pull the trigger, you notice it does that. Does that necessarily do anything? No, it doesn't do anything except for just look cool. And that's all it needs to do. I mean, it's pointless, because if you try to shoulder it, not that you really could, because it doesn't do anything. But it looks cool. And then you might be wondering, like, okay, well, it obviously it's pump action, so it's got to be awesome, but does it have, like, a magazine, or maybe it does some kind of crazy internal magazine or something? No, it doesn't. Well, like, clearly if it's pump action, then it's gonna shoot, like, a couple of darts at once, right? It's shotgun. No, it's just single shot, front reload. Just kind of do that. It's loaded. It's primed, and I just fired it. So you may be wondering, what exactly is the point of it then? There really isn't one. It's thin, it's beautiful, it looks awesome. This is seriously one of the best designed shells I've seen in a very long time. Zuru, I don't know how you managed to turn the original Hawk Eye into this thing, but holy crap. This is a beautiful blaster. But it doesn't do anything that I can say, like, you need to go out and buy this thing right now. Like, while the Reflex 6 is really, really good for what it tries to do, this is just a fun thing. And if you find it for cheap enough, I can definitely recommend picking one up. Is this ever going to be something super duper amazing crazy? No, probably not. But I'm going to talk about it anyway, because this thing just looks awesome. Starting with the scope on the top, it does have some clear plastic, at least in the back kind of cap right here, and some reticles molded into it, but honestly, it doesn't magnify or anything, it just looks cool, and it is completely removable, which I'm going to do for the rest of the video, because this looks way better to me, so sorry. The stock is, it does that, and you can kind of shoulder it. I don't know why you'd have to, but you can, and it has space for storage of 4 darts. Since this is a single-shot blaster, that's a pretty good thing to have, and the break action doesn't have any kind of release mechanism. You just kind of slap it, and then instead of loading a dart into here, you load a dart in there. You press it down, you close it, prime it. That's all this does. It's basically just a rod that pushes the plunger rod back, and then you fire it. Now, it does fire reasonably well for what it is. It's not bad at all, actually. But that's all it does. There's no follow-up shots. If you want to reload it, you're going to have to do the break action and repeat every single time you want to fire it. So, practicality-wise, it's almost useless, because you could use essentially just this piece right here and a bolt or a pullback slide or something, that would perform identically. But hey, at least this one's got a pump grip, and it's reasonably comfortable. It's not all that big, unfortunately, but that probably bodes well for the fact that it's a really, I would say svelte is the appropriate term to use at this junction, because this thing is just way too cool looking. Seriously. I personally am not a big fan of the stock because, one, it's tiny, and two, it just looks kind of weird. In fact, they could completely remove that and I probably wouldn't miss it at all, but it's meant to be some kind of pump-action single-shot rifle thing, so I kind of get it. The interesting mechanism, of course, this thing, where when you pull the trigger, the stock does that. Now, that has absolutely no purpose whatsoever in just being some kind of nifty, cool little feature for kids to enjoy, and quite honestly is kind of fun. It doesn't work. You have to wait for the trigger to completely reset, so you kind of have to, yeah, if I go too fast, it will slip and not completely catch up, but it does it. Why? I don't know, it does. I think this would be way better if it had like a bolt on the side instead, so, you know, you did that and a little bolt vibrated back and forth. Or if you had a slide on the top of the blaster, like you had a slide-based pistol or something, or like a, I don't know, a revolver, and then when you pulled the trigger, the slide kind of jutted back just a little bit, even though you primed it. Something. This just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's a cool little gimmick, and it's a nice little thing to have if you know, just want something that makes a noise and vibrates in your hand a little bit, but it's entirely superficial. It doesn't give you anything, and quite honestly, it could be completely removed, and I probably wouldn't miss it all that much. But I do like break action blasters, and this one is pretty nice. It is kind of possible to break it if you have the scope on the very end by just flicking it down, which is not all that bad, all things considered. I can kind of demonstrate that, actually. I'm gonna have to put the scope back on. I'm already breaking my last rule. But you can see I have the scope all the way up there, and it's really easy for me to just do that, load a dart in, do that, and then prime it. But I have to have two hands on this blaster anyway in order to do that, so not exactly all that useful, and now it doesn't do that. You can do that. That's pretty good. I mean, there's some reloading tricks to be had with this thing, but, I mean, it's just all in the name of the game. And you can, of course, break that open, then fire it. That doesn't matter, because, again, this is just a rod that pushes back on the whole plunger rod, so it's like, just, you know, things like that. Push the little rod back, yeah, primes it. You understand how this is going, but, of course, you might be wondering how this thing actually functions in terms of performance, because I'm kind of saving that, because it's good. I'm not going to say it's not good, but it's definitely nothing all that special either, so let's just put it out on the field and put it over the chronograph and see exactly what it does. Alright, same range as always, taking this thing, doing this thing, using bright orange darts, so hopefully they're a little bit easier to see, but they are still X-Shot darts. You can see, it is actually no slouch at all. It performs pretty admirably. It's not bad. Let's try it without the barrel on, just to see if it's any better. And it seems like it's gonna get a little bit better. Let's just do it again, just to make sure that wasn't a fluke, because that one shot ridiculously far. Now, it seems like it gets a little bit of a power bonus when the barrel is actually flipped down. But of course, that's adding another step. Still not bad at all. Not great, but I mean, for a single shot blaster, that's pretty respectable. Let's do 5 shots with the barrel up. We've already got one of 88. 83. 85, 86, duplicate 86, 78. All right, I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna do it with the barrel down. 90, 89, 90 again, 85, 88, duplicate of 88. So it does in fact hit a little bit harder if you have the barrel down. So yeah, you can see why I'm a little conflicted on this one, because overall it looks amazing. And it doesn't perform bad at all either. I mean, 90 FPS is really high for a stock blaster, especially a Springer. But it's still pump action single shot front loader, which means it's not all that practical. So my recommendation is going to go like this. If you like the way this thing looks, I highly doubt it's going to be that expensive, and if it is too expensive for you, wait a little bit, the price might come down a bit, pick one up. But it's not something you necessarily need to go out and jump to grab right now. I know the design is going to win a lot of you over, and that's just a really cool feature. It doesn't need to have that, no, but it's cool. The scope is not compatible with anything else other than the Zuru X-Shot blasters, so that's something to keep in mind. And if you're using darts that are longer than the X-Shot darts, it can be tricky because they will actually kind of get gummed up in there and may damage the head of your dart. So this is one I'm glad it came with 12 darts out of the box, because it can get pretty hairy trying to put like a standard Nerf dart or something in there because they're just slightly too long for it, but you can get it to work. I didn't have too much trouble. I just had to be a little more ginger with how I loaded it in there. But it looks cool. It looks really freaking cool. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but I do have to do something with it because this whole setup is just screaming for some kind of cosmetic piece done with it. I'm excited to see what other people do with this. Let me know what you think about the new Zuru X-Shot Hawk Eye blaster down in the comment section below. I know a lot of you were waiting for this one, and I hope you tempered your expectations, because while it does perform well, and it looks freaking cool, it's not exactly all that practical, but it's still super fun to use. So that's kind of the most important thing. I'm Walcom S7, thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta